One day you must like put like a short clip of
behind the scenes.
hello.
Hi, hello, welcome.
I've noticed that I always talk.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been gone for a while, ish, but adjusting to life has been a lot. But I'm back and hopefully we'll be more consistent this time. And as you can see, I'm not alone. I'm with somebody's husband, somebody's dad, the one and only Mr. Mbedzi. That rhymed. Did you hear? Hi.
Hello,
How are you?
I am blessed, thank you.
You're not gonna ask me how I am.
How are you?
I'm good. But yeah, guys, I figured we should do a bit of a catch up. It's been a while since I've released a video, especially with him. So yeah, how are you? How are you for real?
I'm good. I think I'm just taking in fatherhood. Yeah, fatherhood is a special journey, so I'm just taking it in day by day.
What's special about being a father?
I think the most interesting thing for me is just seeing him grow. Seeing the little mannerisms that you pick up, and you're like, wow, okay, he's starting to do his lips like this now. starting to make a sound. He's starting to personality, and it's so interesting for me. Yeah.
It is interesting. I think, sure, I absolutely love being a mom, guys. Like, I feel like, I think I've always felt it that this is a calling for me. Truly. I've always known. And now that I'm actually living in that, it's part of it feels so surreal. Like, wow,
You're a mom now.
I'm a mom. I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I don't think I've ever felt more fulfilled ever.
Sure.
Not even, I don't think I know. I've never ever felt more fulfilled, and not to say that either of those roles don't come with their own challenges, but sure, it's been so fulfilling. Like,
I think there's an element of fulfillment in purpose, when you're doing what you've been called to do. I think there comes an element of I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
And
I think recently I've just come into a place where I know, or I've realized, or I've come to understand that being a parent is a ministry.
100%.
And God has trusted us with this person, He's trusted us to
with an entire life.
Be sure to guide his child, because at the end he's his child first before he's ours. And wow, I sometimes I just sit and I'm like, yo, God, you really trust me that much with this person, but yeah, I don't know if you can hear him in the background. Like, he loves to talk.
He's having the time of his life. His favorite thing to do. I won't say who it took after, but it's talking. That's his favorite thing to do.
I'm just thinking now about the time I was pregnant. Do you still remember how I was, or how life was when I was pregnant?
I think I do, but it's different parts. I think pregnancy had its waves. It wasn't consistent. Like, this is how pregnancy is. I think it evolved. One time, I think there was a period of sickness, like morning sickness. There was a period of fatigue. There was a period of, we want this baby out now, So it was a wave. It wasn't consistent. Like, okay, this is how pregnancy is. And I think I think it was just preparation for us to know that, like, once this baby arrives, it's going to be unpredictable. It's not
Yeah.
going to be the same thing. Like, the things we were worried about when he was born, not the things we're worrying about now. I remember when he was born, like, you would worry about holding him correctly, hey, if he's breathing at night, and all these things. Now I just pick him up like a bag of
You
sand,
picking up like that,
like a
okay.
bag of sand, you know. So I think it's progressive, but there are other things that we're looking out for now, as opposed to back then when he was just a little baby.
Sure. Do you remember the time he had to go when I was still pregnant and I had to do like extra tests
Mm,
because they were like, there's something that might be wrong with his heart.
yeah.
There's something that might be wrong with his facial features. Sure. I think I was just reminded of how, I don't want to say stressful that
Mm,
time was, because I think God really carried us, but how like life is really something else, you
yeah.
know. Um, do you remember how you felt then at that particular time when we were going through that?
Um, I thank God for being God, because
Yeah.
I think at that moment, He just gave me a gift of faith, you know. I remember I just had this burst of faith that I can't explain where it came from. It was just there. And like, hear a bad report, you're like, nope, it's not mine. It's not going to happen. You know, you just take authority. And I think that's when I started understanding authority and, you know, your position and your role, because as parents, we're playing different roles in the child's life. You know, as a father, I'm playing a different role than you. That you're playing a role as a mother, and there's something that you're imparting into him that I
Yeah.
can't. You know, that's why I think it's important for a unit, a family unit, you know, because so much is being imparted into this child that he learns subconsciously, you
Yeah.
know. So I think at that time, I wasn't fearful. And I thank God for that. You know, I was just full of faith, like, ah, man, none of this is going to touch us.
And speaking of that, I think for me, when we first got that we needed to do like further tests, I was a mess, you know. And you're saying that you just had this faith that everything was going to be okay. In that moment, that's just one of the moments I can think of where I really appreciate being married, because in my moment of weakness, you were really our strength that carried us, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, needless to say, our son is healthy. Praise the Lord. He's good. He's well. He's growing. He's just a beautiful baby boy.
Full of energy. Yeah.
What would you say? Okay, tell me one thing, like one of your favorite things about being a dad and one of your least favorite things.
Mm, tough one. But I'd say the favorite thing, my personal favorite thing about being a dad, is that I get to do things differently. I get to express my affection for him. I get to shamelessly, and that's why I'm so vocal about how much I love him, because I want him to know that as well. Even though I think now he doesn't understand the word that I'm saying, it's probably
Yeah.
like another language to him. But I tell him every day that I love you, you know, I love you, I love you. And I don't want it to stop. I want it to go on until he's my age, you know, and
Yeah.
I can tell him like, hey man, I love you more than anything, you know. So, okay, not more than anything, but you get the picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's my favorite part, that I get to, I have an opportunity to do things differently, to change the generational cycle, you know, that we've experienced. And I think the least favorite thing for me is that you always you always have to be on your A game. It's not a bad thing. It's not something to be like, but I can't afford to make mistakes. Like, in a way, you know, I can't afford to make wrong decisions. Not that I want to make wrong decisions, but it's just something that I'll constantly think, not constantly, I think about a lot, that every single decision I take, needs to benefit him, benefit the family, So that hanging over my head, I think that's the least part of this whole process. And I think as time, I know it will,
Fade.
yeah, it will fade, or I'll adjust more into it being natural than it having it hang over my head. So I think, because I remember I shared with you, after he was born, there was just a switch that went off, and I don't know what to explain like that switch. I know maybe probably new dads also know this feeling, or people who have had children before, dads who have had children before, that there's a drive that makes you want to be the best, provide
Yeah.
more and all that. And what I hated about what that did to me is that I beat myself up too much. I beat myself. I'm like, I need to do better. I need to do more. I need to do all these things. And yeah, only to find that everything will happen in its own time. Yeah.
I was about to say, like, as you were speaking, I think, yeah, maybe you just need to be more gracious with yourself and
Yeah.
not put that much pressure on yourself, and just enjoy
Yeah.
having him.
Yeah.
And as you were speaking, I was trying to think about my least favorite thing about being a mom. I can't think of anything. What do you think?
I think for you, it's waking up.
Maybe, but I think I'm so used to it now.
Mm.
I will say though, I am tired. I am tired, although he's sleeping better. I think I'm just so used to waking up. I am tired and I just need like rest. I think
Yeah.
we haven't rested in a while, like just to take time out and be like, okay, we're resting. Yeah, and I think just always there's no time off as a mom, like as a parent actually,
It's a full-time
we
job. Yeah.
are I may knock off from work, but being a mom like 24/7, it is tough, but I actually don't think I'd change anything about it. I don't have enough words to express how much I enjoy being a mom, and just this period in my life, being a homemaker, being a mom, being a wife. I was born for this, man. I was born for this. Now that, okay, we've been married for just under 2 years. We got pregnant like less than, it wasn't even a year that we were married.
8 months, somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to know, and just for the sake of being vulnerable and for other people to just, because I'm sure there's other people that are in our shoes, for them
Yeah.
to know that you're not alone. How do you feel like being parents now has affected our marriage? We spoke about how pregnancy affected our marriage, and as you were saying earlier, it's different now. We were pregnant, now there's a baby, there's
Yeah.
different things. How would you say?
Like, I remember there was a pastor at our church once told me this. When you were still pregnant, I think you were just about to deliver, like, this is going to change your life. Just know that. Like, your life is definitely going to change. Everything about your life. And I'm like, no. In my head, I'm like, no, we'll still be the same. And he was right. like, like our lives have changed, and I think sometimes we always want to categorize things as too bad or good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just change. It's just like there was a change that happened, and now there's a third person, in this relationship. There's someone we need to consider as well. It's like emotionally, you have to pour yourself into two vessels now instead of one. And I think what has changed a lot for me is, at first, I think it was when he just arrived. I think it took us a while to really communicate. we were talking like, yeah, we need to do this and all that. Hey, this. But to sit down and just like have a conversation, I think it went really deep when we went on our date night, when we spoke and we actually talked and like, yo, I think that element, if you're not careful, it can fade. It can fade away. I think
It's
what the
very
biggest thing,
easy.
yeah, the biggest thing that I learned, which it wasn't something I needed to be more intentional on before, was being intentional, about the romance in the relationship, about us, because now there's this little guy who, when he turns 18, he's gonna go live his own life. But I was having a conversation with a friend that, you know what, sometimes you're so invested in nurturing babies and helping them grow, and which is the right thing to do when they grow up. And then when they leave the household, you realize that I don't recognize my spouse anymore, because the person I married is not the person you are today. The person you are today is not going to be the person you will be in 18 years. Yes, you're still you, but you have grown, you've changed, you have become someone, you
Evolved.
have become someone different. And that's why it's important to constantly date each other in a marriage, because we're getting to unveil new parts of ourselves. Like, hey, this is who I am now, hey, this is what I like now, because our interests also change. I'm not, yes, the core values are still the same, but our taste in things changes. And sometimes we might find that time goes and you look like, yo, you're not the same person I married in like 5 years ago. Yes, I'm not the same person you married. And I think the biggest change has been that realizing that now I need to balance nurturing him, but also
Nurturing us.
being, yes, nurturing us and being in a relationship with you where we are growing together, and not one is growing and the other one doesn't know where the other one is going, so I think it can happen so easily when you say, I want to work on myself, I want to work on my relationship with God, but you forget that the two have become one, so we need to walk together as we
Yeah.
walk with Christ as well.
I can relate to that. I think I was hard on myself a lot, when I felt like I'm not showing up in other spheres in my life, particularly being a wife, And sure, God's grace is sufficient. And I say that because I had to learn to be gracious with myself. And I had to learn that I had to be gracious with you as well. Um, all of this is new to us.
Yeah.
We've been married, but we've never been married with a child.
Mm.
We've never been parents before. So there's so many things that we're still trying to figure out and to navigate. But going back to what you were saying earlier, I think it's so important to communicate and to
Yeah.
stay in communication and to be intentional about the things that you do. But also, with that being said, I feel like grace is so important as well. And not being hard on yourself when you don't do what you wanted to do, or you don't execute something the way you wanted or the way you envisioned it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very hard. Not very, what am I saying? It wasn't very hard. It was just, oh, okay, this is a bit tricky. Like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I think I'm still in that space where I'm trying to make time for everything. Now that I'm back at work, by the way, like going back to work, the first day I cried because I had to leave the baby. I was so used to being with him, but I had to, I'm learning and I'm experiencing and I'm discovering things literally every day. The learning just never stops, but yeah, intention, being intentional
Yeah.
about stuff. And I'm also grateful to God that I think even with us, he worked on us in this process still, because we were able to come together after some time and say, hey, actually, I just realized this, or I got a revelation on that, and I think this is where I've been, and this is That
Yeah.
sort of, I think that really helped us to not reconnect, but to understand each other more,
Yeah.
and I really think, yeah, God does order our steps. He sees,
100%.
he's with us no matter where we are in our lives, and he shows us things about ourselves that we weren't necessarily aware of. So yeah, it's been interesting. I think now my biggest thing is I really wanna not make time, but have time for everything. Because sometimes I can feel so overwhelmed and be like, yo, I don't have time to do anything. When I do have a bit of time, I also kind of just want to gather myself and be with my thoughts and just catch a break, because yo, it's hectic, bruh. Like, it's hectic. Sometimes I honestly feel like I don't have time for everything. But yeah, I'm just really keep me in your prayers, guys. God must help me and help me navigate everything and prioritize things that the way that I need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you looking forward to?
Besides watching soccer, I would say I'm looking forward to watch him learn. I think that's a very interesting journey. Like, whatever it is,
Yeah.
just watching him learn, like watching him, like, oh, this is how I do this, this is how I do this. And he applies that and he applies that. And I think that's how God wants us to be with him, as children. Like, he learns something and he's just watching in awe. It's like, he finally gets it. He finally
Yeah.
gets faith, and we start applying and like, oh yeah, okay. So I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to just watch him learn, whether it's walking, whether it's talking, whether it's potty training. I know some people hate that, but the whole process of the thinking, like, I look at him sometimes, I'm like, what are you thinking? So watching him learn and apply his mind is going to be so interesting.
And his personality.
Yeah.
Like, I look at him sometimes, and if I see boys that are a little older, I'm like, I really wonder how this one is gonna be.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
But
what
yeah,
about you?
his personality, just seeing, even now, you see when he sees something for the first time, like, you can almost see his mind processing what he's doing. It's so fascinating to me, seeing the world through a baby's eyes. It also just makes me take a step back. I think because we're older, we're used to so many things. Sometimes you can just forget about life and the things of life.
Yeah.
And you see a baby being fascinated by colors, different colors that they're seeing. And you're just like, wow, that's interesting. So seeing the world from his lens has really been interesting. And I can't wait to, like you were saying, just seeing him learn, seeing him grow, seeing his personality,
Yeah.
how he's going to be. We have big dreams for him, and
Yeah.
we always speak into his life. But just, I think seeing all of that come together is really going to be something special.
Yeah.
Sure. Any word for the daddies out there, in case there's a daddy watching, a new daddy?
Trust God. Like, I'll just be the cheesy guy that says the typical stuff. Trust God and be
But
easy.
there's so much truth in that. There's so much power in that.
Trust God and be easy on yourself. I was having a conversation with someone else, and he was just speaking about how understanding fatherhood, it's also important to understand the fatherhood from God as well, and to be a father. So I would say, like, that, be easy on yourself and allow God to teach you fatherhood, because it's not something, it's not second nature. It's not like it's learned.
Yeah.
And I think you can renew that from how you view God as well.
For me, guys, and I think this is like my favorite thing to tell moms, you are literally the best parents for your child. You're the best mom for your child. I think sometimes it can be easy to be like, oh, what am I doing? But like, you are perfect for your child, you know. And something that we were reminded of at church is to just speak life into your child. Speak scriptures of God over your child's life, you know. Just be that first point of reference that your child will get before they go out into the world, you know. That first reference of, you know, this is what life is. Yeah, you're the best mom, you're the best dad for your child. So yeah, is that it from you?
That's it from me.
That's it from us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, you know the drill. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and all of that. And I will be back soon. Maybe with him, maybe with the baby, who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Always a mystery. Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys, for your time. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.